Hello everyone, I am Gank Theory, aka Theory, or you can just call me James, and I'm here with a special video for Weak Auras 2 and how I both love and hate this add-on. Something actually happened to me today, and it's happened a couple of times before, and I wanted to kind of make a little guide to help you guys not have the same problem. Basically what happened is, for some reason, all of my weak auras that I usually use on my Rep Paladin got erased. Tried to back them up. Unfortunately, wasn't able to back them up because I didn't have it set up correctly, and because of a small glitch, which we'll talk about again in just a few seconds. So what I'm going to do is show you, number one, how to create a weak aura that works for you and your character, and number two, how to back it up. So that way, if this happens to you, you won't spend hours trying to set them back up the way that you had them before. All right, so this is my Rep Paladin that we're looking at here, and for those of you who don't play a Rep Paladin, one of the things that's kind of important about getting your DPS rotation down correctly in order to maximize your numbers is to make sure that you have up Inquisition as much as possible. It's really one of the most important things about Retribution Paladin. So that's the first thing that we're going to look at. Now, on my Rep Paladin, I do use CLC Ret, and I use that basically as a guide. So if I happen to lose train of thought or get lost or moving and lose where I am, I can kind of see where I'm at and continue to put up some decent numbers. So because of that, I'm going to pull it up and put it on the screen so that way I can base where I'm putting my weak auras on that. So I'll just tell it to show always, and then we'll see it's right there. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with CLC Ret, the main square is what it wants me to press now. The square to the right is what it wants me to press next. It's pretty simple idea. So with Inquisition, because it's so important, I'm going to put it right to the left of that main square and try to make it look similar to the one on the right, just for, make it simple and easy. So in order to do that, I'm going to hit enter and do /WA to open up weak auras. Now you will see that there's a couple of already made weak auras in here, and we'll talk about those in a second when we talk about backing up and how to retrieve them if you lose them. Okay, so I'm going to say new, and what I actually want is an icon. Okay. Now, notice it puts it kind of right in the middle. I'm going to move it relative to where I want it, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so it kind of matches that one over there. Notice it's pretty darn close. All right, and I'm going to put it approximately in the same place. Okay, now we're going to call this one INQ for Inquisition. Okay, now looking at display. All right, that's the first one that's highlighted that comes up. I'm not going to desaturate it because I want it to actually show what it is. Okay, I'm not going to inverse it. I'm not going to change anything on there. I actually like exactly how it is. All right, so that's good. I'm going to go to trigger. Now this tells it, the add-on, when it needs to show this particular thing. So what Inquisition actually is a buff. So buffs are under auras. There's also customs. There's events, there's status. For example, on status, if you're using combo points or if you're using holy power, for example, which I will actually set up on this guy a little bit later, you would use a status. I'll check that real quick so you can kind of see. Once you go to status, it gives you another drop down, and it's got all of those items to choose from the drop down, like chi power, combo points, Death Knight runes, all those things right there, so that it makes it really simple for those. But this one is a buff, so I'm going to go back to aura, and then for aura name I'm going to type Inquisition, and then hit OK, and then it found it. If it found it, it's going to be right here. Now there may be multiple ones, don't worry about that, that's fine. Okay, now Inquisition cannot be cast by anybody else on me, so I don't need to check own only for that because it's checking it on me and nobody else can cast it on me. Pretty obvious, right? All right, now then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to load. Now I only want to really be worried about this in combat. So if I'm not in combat, I don't need to worry about it. Good. All right, the other thing is if I'm not playing my paladin, I don't need this, right? So player class, and we go to paladin. And for a paladin, I'm not going to need it if I'm holy or prot, right? So talent specialization, and switch that to retribution. Okay, so now it's only going to load in combat on a paladin if I'm retribution. So that way I'm not wasting memory on it loading if I'm on the wrong tune or a different tune, for example. Okay, and then I've got actions, which I can make it say, hey, I've got Inquisition up if I wanted to do like a chat message, or I can make it play a sound, or make the button glow, or any of those kind of things if I wanted to right here on actions. I don't really care about that. I just want to be able to see the icon. And then there's also animations. Now on this one, I'm not really going to animate it because this is just telling me that it's up, so it's good. So I'm liking that. It's good to go. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to create one that tells me when I don't have an Inquisition up. The problem, obviously, with Paladins is when it's not up, you need to put it up. So that's really important. So what I'm going to actually do, because I want it to be the same size and basically look the same, is I'm going to copy that one by right-clicking and going to duplicate. Now this one, I'm going to call it no INQ. Now the difference is I'm going to go back to display. On this one, I do want it to desaturate it. Okay. My trigger is going to be Inquisition, but in this case, I'm going to say inverse, meaning I want it to come up with this icon when I don't have Inquisition up. Now you notice when I did that, it switched it to this question marks. The reason it did that is it doesn't know what it is anymore because I told it when it's not up. So if you go back to display, you can go to display icon, hit choose, and then in here type Inquisition, and you notice right there, that's Glyph of Inquisition. Create Inquisition's crest. So we don't like any of those. What's going on with that? Well, I can actually use that one. It's the same actual icon anyway, so that's fine. So we like that. And then we back on our trigger. It's an aura, Inquisition, and we're doing it inverse, okay? And again, I'm not really worried about anybody else's. I'm only worried about mine in this case. If I don't have Inquisition up, I need to get it up. So go ahead and click it for that. And then load. Same thing. In combat, as a paladin, as a retribution paladin. Okay? And then actions. Do I want it to do anything? Not really. But what I do want it to do is under animations, I want to actually make it bounce to make it a little bit more visual. To basically slap me in the face and say, dude, put up Inquisition. Okay, so if I go to main, I can go to preset and then choose, there's a bunch of different ones, flash, bounce, flip, pull, shake. I mean, like shake, for example, it's left and right. Bounce goes up and down. There's a bunch of different ones you can do. Flip means it's going to flip like there. Obviously the thing with this is you want this thing to be so visible that with all the other crazy crap that's going on in the screen, that you can tell it's there, which I like bounce, so I'm going to use that one. Okay, and then at that point, these are good, right? I'm liking it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put them in a group so that they're actually linked together. So I go to new, group, and I'm going to write ret INQ. That's my Retribution Inquisition. Then if you go to this little, almost looks like a backwards return arrow, you can say group, put this in a group. Yep, put it in there. And then do the same thing with the other one. Yep, put it in there. Okay, so now they're both there. So we're going to test it real quick. Okay. I'm going to close out of it. You'll notice it went away because we chose in combat on both of those. So it's not there right now. Now if I get up here on this target dummy and I start doing some DPS, see it's bouncing because I haven't applied it yet. I'm going to apply it now. And it switched. Perfect. So that's exactly what I wanted. So now that part of my actual UI is perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to back up off of it here. Okay. And I'm going to open weak auras back up real quick. All right. Now, meanwhile, you'll notice when I open it back up, you can see the other one bouncing. That's just because I have this up. If I close this, they're both gone because I'm not in combat anymore. Okay. So I'm opening it back up. Now we're going to talk about backing it up. Now, there's a couple different things about doing backups. Number one, if you actually go into your Windows or Apple file system, you can go into the WoW folder, into the user, which if you're a new user for the past couple of years, it'll be WoW 1. If you're a existing user for years, it may actually be under your account name, which is actually how mine was. And then once you're in that file folder, which these are all in the WTF folder and then your account, you can actually go into another folder called Shared Variables. In that file folder, there will be something that says weakaura.lua, and then another one called weakaura.lua.bak. It has its own backup system, and that's supposed to be if the system, the game crashes it's supposed to pull from the backup, so that way nothing got messed up. That's why a lot of times, if you made a change and then your game crashes and you open your game back up, that change isn't there anymore. It's because it's pulling it from the backup. This is the problem. If you technically lost all your weak auras and you saw it as soon as they were gone, you could very easily copy that backup file and then take the BAK off, copy it back into that file folder, reload WoW, you'd have them all back. But if you don't catch it the very first time that you log in after doing that, it rewrites the backup file with whatever quote-unquote changes were made that new time. So you lose that. So in order to kind of do another version of the backup, you can copy that file into a new folder on your computer, or you can just do a text string of your actual weak aura and then reload it back in, which literally only takes a few seconds. So if I wanted to do that, I can right-click on my ret INQ and go to export to string. Then you get this big block of what looks to be random characters and numbers. Okay, then at that point we're going to copy that, Control-C. We're going to open up our Word program or WordPad or whatever you want to use. I'm going to use Word. Paste it in, and then just save it. And I'm going to save that as Ret Pally Inquisition Weak Aura. Save. And I already have one, so I'm going to replace it. Now it's there. Okay, so now I have that there. Now, if something happens and I've lost this weak aura, okay, so we'll just say I'm just going to test it for you here. We're going to delete. All right. So it's not there anymore. It's gone. I've lost it. You can test it out here on DPS and it's no longer there. Okay. What you do once you've backed it up that way, you go to New, Import String, pull back up that Word file you just saved, which I'm going to open it real quick, which is right there on the top. Copy it, paste it, and you get this little box, import. And you say import. And look, it's saved everything. Even the positioning is right. It's right there. Okay. So now I'm good. Inquisition, no Inquisition. Retribution, Inquisition. Now it looks to be, look, it kind of did it twice. We're going to get rid of that one because we don't need multiples. And that may have been the way that I deleted it before. But you'll see that they're there. And I run up here and start doing some DPS. And look at that. It's working. Just like it's supposed to. Okay, so perfect. So that is it. Now I've got about 7 or 8 more pieces I need to do on this in order to get mine working the way that I want it to. But that gives you the basics on how to make one and how to back it up. My name is James, aka Theory. You can find me on Airy Peak as a member of CTR, currently in Kazakh, and on the Orkbusters raid team. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.